Hello and welcome to Ham Nation, episode 549 for June 21st, 2023. And how's it going, everybody? I'm Josh, KI6NAZ. We have quite a lot going on because we are getting ready for Field Day. So let's get right over to the fun and say hi to our hosts, some of whom are on location. Let's do that now. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
So starting out at the top, Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing good, and I'll be talking about tools that you should bring along for Field Day, and remind you all that I will be at the Lincoln Amateur Radio Club Field Day this weekend.
Excellent, excellent, very good. And Gordo, how are you?
All is well here. Welcome to the longest day of the year, which we all need to pack for Field Day, as well as the first day of summer. Field Day is right around the corner.
Indeed. And Don, how is things going? Looks like you got a shirt on there, buddy. What's that all about?
There's a baseball game going on. It's the College World Series, so of course, I've got to keep track of it here as best I can.
Very good.
That's Real Housewives. What's that?
Yeah, that's really what you're watching in the background.
It's really not. I'll fix this in a minute. But anyway, yeah, I'm watching the LSU Wake Forest game at the College World Series in Omaha, and thanks to Joe Eisenberg for sending me the official shirt from there. So yeah, we're enjoying that. I will not be doing Field Day on Saturday. Oh, there it is. Now the game. See, look, I am watching the game.
He's got to prove it.
I am watching the game. See, there you go.
Very good.
There you go. 5-2 LSU. I have to work Saturday, but I'll try to get on like Saturday night or sometime.
Excellent.
So let's go talk to her. She's prettier than I am.
Somebody looks like they're potentially on location.
You're prettier than I am.
Yeah. How you doing, Amanda? What's going on?
I am on location. We come up early to have some rest and relaxation before the crazy 24 hours of operation time. Which I spend a lot of time on doing that. I work a lot of hours on that, but I'm in our con trailer, so I'm going to give you a little preview, just a little.
That's right, because you got to wait to the end to see the whole thing. Amanda's going to show us around their setup. Look at that.
Look, what's that? ICOM 7610 right there, ready to be set up, which you can't do until 48 hours beforehand. So it's just sitting in the box waiting to go. So anyhow, I'd like to thank we have a great guest tonight. And he's going to tell us all about the things that we forget to bring to Field Day, which do you know that I have numerous, and sometimes it's something as small as coffee that I have forgotten to bring before.
Don't forget the coffee. No.
Do not forget the coffee. And Tim's going to tell us a little bit about what we need, what we should have, and how to find it. So, Mr. Tim Duffy, K3LR, I'm going to send it over to you. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Amanda, and thanks so much for inviting me on this evening. And Field Day is Ham Radio Christmas. That's what this is. This is Ham Radio Christmas, and I wish I had a box all wrapped up, and we could open it up here. But we will open it up on Saturday, and it will be fantastic. No matter where you are in the USA and even around the world, Ham Radio Christmas is Field Day, and we are going to have Field Day.
Very good. And something that goes along with Field Day, right, is a lot of planning, consideration, gear that you take out. And I know, much like when I was younger, I used to have the nightmares of waking up and I was talking in front of the class in my underwear, and you'd wake up in a cold sweat kind of thing. My great fear in Field Day is that I forget something, and it's always got to be some innocuous little doodad that you forget to put in the right place, or you go to the spot you always have it, and it's not there. Tim, tell us, I mean, you're the person to ask because you experience just things you've been through with all the people you work with, but then everybody who comes into DX engineering with a horror story. What are the top 5 things that people forget when they go out and do something like Field Day?
You know, That's a great question, Josh, because I've been doing field day since 1972, so I've got a few of these under my
Got a
belt.
few stories.
But this week on the phones here at DX Engineering has been amazing. We have had all sorts of calls from all around the country with everybody getting ready for field day and worrying about those top 5 things that they're going to forget.
Right.
And number 1 on that list is connectors. Connectors are the thing. Whether it's a PL259, maybe it's an SO239 or an SO238, the SO238, which is the double female. Having enough connectors, you just can't have enough in your bag of field day goodies. Number 2 on the list is extension cords. Coming from the generator and getting to the tent or the table, having enough extension cords and doing it properly, Josh, because safety is really important, making sure you've got all the 3-wire things. And then number 3 is, I forgot the ground rod. You got to have a ground rod. You got to make sure that the generator is grounded. Again, that's a safety issue. Number 4 is forgetting to look where the power lines are. You got to make sure that you look around and don't get involved with the power lines, because you don't want any of your antennas anywhere close to power lines. And number 5 is forgetting the public relations material. One year we had our public relations chairman. He forgot the whole file, and that was all of the materials that we wanted to hand out to the public. And you want to make sure that you do have a very good public relations table where you hand out materials, because this is the source of new hams. This is how we attract new hams and show just how cool the best hobby in the world is.
I love it. So let's talk about these a little bit. So what, in your point of view, for number 1, is the right smattering of adapters that you would have in your field day kit?
So you want to make sure that you have the PL259s, and of course, the crimp-on connectors from DX Engineering are my favorite, and that's really, you can put on a PL259 crimp-on that has the solder-on center conductor in about 3 minutes. So it's really easy to do, and you want to have about 6 of those. There they are, right there, and then the double female, the SO238. Because you want to be able to join coax lengths together, right?
So
it's never long enough.
I like this idea, particularly for field day. Instead of advocating all these crazy switch from this to this to this to that, just cut the thing, redo it the right way, and use a good connector is kind of what you're advocating.
That's right. Because when it comes down to it, a lot of the failures with antenna systems comes down to the connector, Josh.
Right. Now, extension cords, you said do it the right way, and you mentioned the 3, obviously the 3rd pin, right, for your safety ground. Is there anything else people should do or be worried about with extension cords when they're out in the field?
Yeah, you don't want to make them too long, Josh, because you can get a voltage drop, and that can impact how well your power supply is going to work. So sometimes if the extension cord is too long, then we no longer have 13.8 volts, and that can be a problem.
So with so many folks doing things, we're running generators, since we're talking extension cables, is there anything you recommend or have a warning for with generators and whatnot?
Yes, some generators can have trouble because they're kind of old school, and they might have a square wave, and that can cause some radios to have a problem. So you want to make sure an inverter generator is the best, because that's got a good, clean sine wave.
I like it. And grounding. So a lot of folks, I've been to a couple field days where they don't really use a grounding rod, like right there, like you might do by the generator. Why do you recommend doing that? And why is that important from your point of view?
That's safety. That's all about safety, Josh, because we want to make sure that if there is a problem, that the generator can find ground. It needs to be grounded. It needs to have a ground rod. And all the equipment in the tent or in the RV needs to be bonded together. That's good amateur radio station practice. So bond everything together and properly ground the generator.
When you're in the field or you're doing field day, how do you generally bond your equipment to everything else? What do you guys use?
So what we have is a single point ground panel, which we have a lot of bonding copper strips at DX Engineering, along with our tin copper braid. And so from each one of, the power supply, the radio, the antenna switch are all grounded together, all bonded together using the tin copper braid. And on the ends of those, we've got nice lugs. And that tin copper braid is very handy for making sure everything is at the same potential.
Now, what was the multi-point ground plane are you talking about? This is something that goes by the equipment, or what is that?
Yeah, it's a grounding bar that we have, and it's we get it from a company out of Georgia, and we call it a single point ground panel, and it allows all of those grounding wires to come together at a common point.
Am I on the right one? Let me see if I got this right. Is that the
you got
right
it?
guy? Oh, okay. Okay, so I see. So you got a table of stuff or whatnot, or maybe you just put this on a board and then you can set it up on the operating table, and then you connect that to your radios, your tuner, your amplifier if you're using one, and then off to, connect it correctly bonded to the grounding rod for the generator.
Right. That is exactly it right there.
And you mentioned looking out for power lines, right? So running them on the ground, obviously there's some things we just have to do. Is there a piece of advice you have so people don't trip, particularly at night when they're walking from, they just operated for 4 hours straight and they get up to go to the restroom and boom, what do you do to avoid that?
Well, there's two things here, Josh. We want to make sure that you don't trip over anything. So we want to make sure that we have at least a flashlight, but it's even better to have a full-time light on at night. But the power lines that are up in the air, in some cases, the field day site is around power lines, and we want to make sure that we stay away from those power lines so that no antenna, no feed line, no part of the field day operation can be part of that power line.
I like it. This is one of the reasons why there's a safety officer position that you get extra points for on field days, things like this, right? Right?
Yes.
I heard Amanda in my ear right now say, that's right, ding, ding, we're getting a bell.
A safety officer is one of the most important parts of field day. And of course, go to QST, because QST, the June issue of QST has in it the field day insert.
Every year they do this. It's super valuable, guys. It's really, really valuable stuff.
Yep.
And it's so valuable that DX Engineering sponsored it this year.
Hey, look at that. Very nice. Wow. Very nice. Tim, and then lastly, you mentioned public relations material. So what does that look like for you guys? What do you hand out, or what do you recommend people hand out?
Well, so what is ham radio all about? You'll have people that say, you guys still do this? I mean, some people think that we're Civil War reenactment.
Right.
But no, we are really important. Ham radio is so relevant today, even more so. Every time there's a hurricane warning or a storm warning, amateur radio works. When the cell phone systems go down, ham radio is there. And so first off is a page about what is ham radio all about.
Okay.
And then the fact that you can talk to people all over the world without wires and make great friends.
Make great friends. Great community of people. I always tell my wife, I'm like, look, honey, we're important. And I keep telling her that every day. And, I just don't know that the message is sinking in. So we got to make sure we drag her out to the field day here this weekend to have a real visual understanding of what this is. Because, Tim, this is not just like, let's go out and have a lot of fun. Part of this is emergency preparedness, right? I mean, that's what we're really doing when you get down to it, right?
It is. And if there was an emergency, wouldn't you want to be here?
I mean, in your shack specifically, yes.
Right. And and our club is going to be here this weekend. We're going to have a tent outside. We're going to have a lot of public relations. We're going to have Elmer programs. We're going to have good food, but we're also going to get on the radio, and it's all going to be powered by an emergency generator.
Very good. Yeah, so fully off the grid.
Wow.
Chucky Seavers says, I bought those. Nice tin copper braid. De-engineering, way to go. So he likes your braids you got there, Tim.
And I use those ground bars. I have 2 of those in my station.
There you go.
The exact one.
Oh, very good. And that was from Joe that was commenting off the air there. So, Tim, anything else you want to mention since we're talking about Field Day? What else is important to hit?
What's important to hit is to thank all the hardworking people at the ARRL that put this stuff together, Josh. Mm-hmm. They assemble the logs after everything is done. Paul, N1SFE, up at the contest desk, has been fielding all the questions, and there's great resources on arrl.org. You just click on contests, and you can go right to the Field Day tab, and we forget sometimes and take it for granted just how much work goes into this at ARRL headquarters. But make sure you go and download the whole Field Day package at arrl.org. And when you get the opportunity, thank all the hardworking folks at headquarters for everything that they do.
Now, where is that again? Because I want to make sure I'm giving this right. So we go to On the Air, and then from the On the Air page,
we go to contests.
They don't call it a contest, though, Tim. What do they call it?
Yes. No, if you keep score, Josh, it's a contest.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure.
That's a secret.
It's totally a contest.
Mincing words, but nonetheless.
And then where am I going for Field Day?
If you go down to the, we can go down to the resources. Over on the right.
Oh, on the right. Am I missing it?
Yeah. And there we go. Contest.arrl.org right there. Oh, just up.
This one.
There you
got
go.
it. Okay. All right.
There we go. And we can go over and you can click right on Field Day.
And there it is. I found it.
There it is.
See, I got it. Okay. So this is the contest monitor, and I'll drop the link in the chat for everybody so they have that. And among all the things right there, it looks like they have the rules and the entry form. Very important stuff to read.
That's exactly where you want to go.
So
there we go. Field Day rules.
Please read this before rolling out of bed on Saturday morning. Please take a look at this information before you just walk right out, right?
And Saturday, you don't have to go to bed. You just stay on the air.
That's it.
That's what I did.
I love it.
That's what I did.
All right. Well, Tim, I appreciate this. This was a lot of fun talking with you, and I appreciate all the stories there of things that have probably been built upon from your years of supporting Field Day and all the work that you do at DX Engineering. So we appreciate it.
Well, thanks so much for having us on, Josh. And we hope that everybody has a safe and fun time. Having fun is what it's all about.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, Tim, feel free to hang out, but I know he's always doing club talks and other fun stuff, so he may have to leave us. But again, we really appreciate it. So that means I'm going to throw to Gordo, and he's going to continue talking about Field Day, particularly what they're planning on doing. Gordo?
All right. Well, Tim, thank you so much. And yes, tonight's presentation will underscore the importance of safety. And no doubt everybody has the ties that we use for Field Day to clean up before we get on the air, those dangling wires and stuff. But I want to illustrate that those ties go perfectly through a cherry, which has the same density as your eyeball.
Oh, geez.
So make absolutely sure that any ties that are hanging out with a point on them, that you don't get someone's eye out. So something very important to look for when we come to safety. Well, let's take a look and see what we have for safety for Field Day. First of all, we encourage all of you, as Tim was indicating, for public visibility, get the big sign out there, Ham Radio Field Day, on the air here. And this we had out for the ARRL's birthday, 100 years, a couple of years ago. So a good banner will draw folks to see your Field Day location. And next, have a plan for the layout. And there's two kinds of plan. One plan is a big open area, and you let everybody spread out and put their antennas even further out. And that's okay. I like to have like a bonfire if it's permitted in a area not close to any trees, or a small little solo stove that's going away. That's one approach. The other approach, rather than everybody in their own little tent, is to put all of the operators together under one big tent. That's going to be safety against the UV rays, and that allows them to be able to space out all of their antennas, because one of the biggest problems of field day is, well, that 40-meter station is just slopping over and on 20, and the third harmonic of the 15-meter station. You get the idea. So be sure and spread out those antennas and keep them as far apart as possible. And same with those operators operating close together. Either get them a Heil headset, which you can get through DX Engineering, or get them an earphone, but try and space them a little bit out as well. And that'll keep those field day operators happy. Well, the safety officers are critical, as Tim was indicating and Josh was indicating. Put them in a bright color, and they will continuously just sort of walk around looking for those tie-ties that didn't get snipped close, looking for problems with trip hazards. And if you are going to be working with kids and have like a kids station where maybe they do some simple wiring, make sure that anybody dealing with soldering and so on, and Joe, I know you'll talk about this, make sure that they have protective lenses on, or safety glasses. These are pretty formidable, but nonetheless, safety glasses. And you'll look like a real field day pro, as the late Patrick has here, as he's up on the roof getting ready for field day, and he has his big glasses on. So make sure, especially in soldering, that everybody has lenses on, and she's about ready to put hers on after she puts just the final touches on the board she's trying to solder to. And again, there you are, the diagonals ready to snip off those wire ties. Be sure and watch out when you snip them off, because they shoot out like an arrow on some of the things, but make sure it's absolutely smooth. And what I do anytime I have a connection like this, it's being held with a plastic wire tie, I push that exposed end that's now flush, so it's not going to even jab anybody if they come up against it. So watch out for there. Now, many field day stations will have 2-meter weak signal work, 432, 1270, and higher now with the new ICOM rig soon to come out. Make sure you've got postings so people are not standing in front of a large 10 gigahertz dish, maybe running 5 or 10 watts. And we'll go to the next photo, and you'll see that I had a little fun with motorists driving by. I set up the watch your speed, and that really slowed them down. But watch out for any type of microwave equipment, 2.4 gigs, even some Wi-Fi gear on steroids. You just don't want that right in your face. And this is waveguide. This is what we use for our 10 gigahertz and higher contesting. This one is set for the 10 gig band. Never be looking into it, in that's radiation that'll kill your eyeballs in a microsecond. Same thing with pointy ends. When you're out there trying to score a contact on many of the satellites, be cautious, because without thinking, you go, oh, it's over there, and you start swinging that antenna, and there's people around you, as you can see here, as we're operating one of the field day stations at a local county fair. And that's Clint Bradford. He's like the satellite guy, and he's got his protective lenses on. The other guy, I don't think he does. And we did make a good contact. Loop antennas, these are very special, and they have a very high Q, and they have a very strong field. Make sure that you never ever have anybody that could actually come up and touch that loop, in that the exposed ones where we see the bare aluminum can be very dangerous, and they'll get quite an RF burn. So watch out for loop antennas, and even those tripods, that looks like a trip hazard you got to be thinking about. Oh, my aching back. Yeah, we're putting together a little a 6-meter beam, and we're doing it on the dirt lawn, or the dirt, no lawn. Here's the Orange County Amateur Radio Club that I'm going to be doing field day for, working the Chip Margelli K7JA station. Chip is no longer with us, but his station will roar. They put everything on sawhorses, and they've all got, I think most of them have glasses on for protection, and this way they're not busting their you-know-whats bending over. Now, Tim will tell you coax is important. You cannot judge coax just by looking at the black outside jacket. Well, you can judge it if it says DX Engineering, but here's some stuff that one of the hams said, boy, I got a real good deal. Got it direct from overseas, and it was only 85 cents a foot, and it's just like LMR 400. Well, I wanted to take a look, so I cut off a little bit, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 conductors on the center, and it looks like it's not Teflon, but some sort of maybe polyvinyl chloride, whatever the insulation is, and then the outside braid. So I said, well, this will probably work okay. I didn't realize that he was going to be running some power and some more power and some more power, and then he went off the air. I go, whoa, what the heck happened? I have no idea. Look at this. He was running power into some flaky coax that he got bargain price, and the center conductors through what was now a very warm isolation dielectric just moved over and shorted out. So only use professional coax, especially for those of you that are going to be running some power. Now, Tim was indicating you got to watch out because during the day, something like this is pretty obvious. But late at night or into the next morning, some hapless person that I know took a 180 and is now chewing away on the grass. So watch out for trip hazards, especially at night. And flag, have a lot of that yellow flag to flag those guidelines around there. Watch for power lines. We won't even tell you what it's like to be hit by a power line, but there's no second chance. Watch for power lines. So before you put up any antenna, make sure that the safety officers are looking around, and the safety officers were obviously looking in the wrong direction on this one. Although this one went up quite nicely, I was a little worried on those standing almost beneath it. And as for our tower climber on this particular field day station, I'm not sure he's properly belted. In fact, I don't really see much of anything other than good luck holding him in there. If you do have a designated tower climber, double check that they have everything they need, including a hard hat and safety glasses and the proper fall prevention technique and the bungee cord. I know it's not a bungee, but it's like a bungee cord. Make sure they have everything. And when they do, and they get way up there, 30 or 40 feet, that's a lethal fall. Here's Chip, K7JA, and he's got everything in hand there for last year's field day, all belted up, and a real credit to ham radio to making things happen. Double check your weather. I am very happy to say I don't think we're going to get slammed by any heavy weather. And the good news is the solar flux index for Saturday is going to be 170
Ooh.
with a predicted A of 5, which is relatively quiet. Well, that means we're going to have some pretty good conditions. But remember, if we should get a coronal mass ejection from what we'll learn shortly from Tamara, we may have to go to the higher band. So when the HF bands and they're complaining, find the 6-meter operator, and they're probably working more stations than you can stick an antenna at. So that's a neat thing there. And of course, watch your wind. We did start out horizontal with our 6-meter beam, but after a little wind gust, the pole didn't quite make it, yet we're now vertically polarized. And you know, when you're working sky waves, it really doesn't make a difference as to vertical or horizontal, although horizontal is more pleasing to look at. And again, generators, make sure they are in a well-ventilated area. And I don't even like this setup where the generator is just 8 inches away from the fuel tank. I would rather have them separated by at least 20 feet. And I would make sure that that generator is not going to give any type of gas coming out that's going to affect anybody in the trailer and so on. And of course, have a lot of clip-on leads because you got to minimize any return currents on the outside braid of the coax. And bandpass filters, yeah, they're great. Get them at DX Engineering, and bandpass filters indeed work. But if you don't have a bandpass filter, but you got an old Johnson matchbox, a big one with a big coil and big capacitors, they can almost take the place of a bandpass filter as long as you got it tuned perfectly to the band that you are planning on operating on. And then a big goodbye to Chip K7JA. Many of you knew Chip. He was there building along with several others of the club, all sorts of coax jumpers and so on. So Chip will miss you, but by golly, we're going to keep up your motto of kick butt. And W6 Zulu Echo will be on the air on 2 meters, 440, 1270, 10 gigs, and of course, high frequency big time. So be safe at field day. Watch your eyeballs that you don't end up with a situation like this. Keep a nice, accurate log, and I'll look forward to hearing your call sign over the air.
Got a
so
couple
now
questions.
Let's go to Amanda or Josh
Yeah.
with anyone with questions.
Yeah, I've got a couple. So you mentioned space for antennas when you're planning your field day. How do you generally do that? Because they do interfere if you're not careful.
Well, the whole idea is to put the 40 meter as far away from the 20 meter, and the 20 meter as far away as the 10 meter, because these are harmonics, and just try and get as much spacing as possible, and try and keep them also slightly different elevation, so they're not exactly looking at each other in the same plane. And for long wires and so on, just make sure those long wires that you put out there, dipoles and off-center feds, are not anywhere near any of the other operating antennas, because that really heats up a person's temper if you, when get on 75, are completely destroying the 40 meter band. So something to keep about separation is the best way to go, and bandpass filters.
Very good. And we got a question that I have never even thought about this, but with all the recent, talk about exposure and doing your calculations, are the field day stations, how considerable should they be of that? Or should they be running the calculations and printing them out and having them on hand?
Well, I don't know about printing them out, but certainly going to the league has some wonderful sites for looking up the calculations, and even some sort of dead reckoning sites where you can interpret. And the big thing is you just want to get the antennas up and in the clear. You don't want an antenna at about eye level, and that goes with the long wires as well. And just make sure that visitors, which are called uncontrolled, do not get anywhere near antennas used for transmitting. And for us hams, called the controlled environment, we can get a little closer, but again, don't put us in front of a 2 meter or 440 or 1270 station. Certainly not in front of my 10 gig station, as that would probably be exceeding the limits.
All right. And the last one, this is a question from me, Gordo. Do you have any other bigger pet peeve than an uncut zip tie or tie?
For safety, No, actually, it's just the tie ties that I see not only during field day, but on fences at schools and everything else. So, nope, that's my big thing is the pet peeve there, and generators where you can begin to smell the exhaust. If you can smell the exhaust, that is not good. That means that it could be putting out some lethal CO2, carbon dioxide. Oh, carbon monoxide, excuse me, carbon monoxide, and you just don't want that to begin to get into a trailer or a tent that's operating.
Excellent. Well, those are the questions, so thank you, Gordo, for taking those.
Got it.
Here's another idea that I just thought of as far as safety goes. You're going to hammer those ground rods in. They're probably going to stick up this much or so above the ground. That's a bad trip hazard if just tripping over, but you surely don't want to fall on it. Maybe bring a couple of spare ice chests and invert them and put them over those ground rods sticking up, because it'd be a heck of a lot better to fall on an upside down ice chest than it would be to fall on 8 inches of.
Yeah, and same with tent stakes. Good point.
Absolutely.
Don.
Yes. Absolutely.
I've seen people use coffee cans or small buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
That works too. Yeah, your basic big box home store big orange bucket be perfect. Yep.
What if it was just a parking cone you throw over the top of it?
That'd work too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I've seen that.
Yep.
Very
Everybody's
good.
got a Home Depot in their town though, so yeah, that'd be easy to do too.
Well, thanks again, Gordo, and I'll take the liberty of throwing it on over to ICOM.
Aim higher and discover the world of SHF. Explore the world of microwave with ICOM's new SHF portable, the IC905. This all-mode rig covers 144 to 5600 megahertz, and with the optional CX10G transverter, 10 gigahertz. This portable also has a few industry firsts under its belt. The IC905 is the first radio to support the 5 major bands, VHF to SHF, a Power over Ethernet RF module for flexible installation, and is compatible with amateur TV in analog FM mode. Other features include large 4.3-inch color LCD touchscreen, real-time high-speed spectrum scope and waterfall display, easy digital mode settings, included high-performance GPS antenna, full D-Star functions, including DV and DD mode, and SD memory card slot. For more information about ICOM's amateur offerings, visit icomamerica.com/amateur. From May 19th through May 21st, hams can find ICOM at booth 2608 at Dayton Hamvention 2023 in Xenia, Ohio.
And I apologize that if you're still at Dayton trying to go at Hamvention, that you probably missed it by a little bit. So I apologize that we'll have to correct that ad for the next one. But a big thank you, a little late. So a big thank you to ICOM America for supporting the Ham Nation here on the Ham Radio Crash Course. We really appreciate it. Every time we go live, as we talk about, if you click that little black button on ICOM America's website, the link is in the description, you get entered to win a swag pack. We pick 3 winners for swag pack, and those 3 winners go into the end of the month drawing for a radio. This month's radio is an ID52, but first let's talk about the swag pack winners. Daniel M, W1MUZ, JB, WD for JB, and Spencer S, KD2ROK. You all won swag packs, and your name goes into every month's drawing for a winner for the grand prize. And the grand prize winner this month is Igor S, KN6ZEO. And I just want to point out, they updated the website so that you can see every month for here to the end of the year what radio they're giving away. And so June, you can see it's right here, is the ID52. So next month, it's going to be the 3500 and the V86 and the T10. So they got your whole year planned out ahead of you for giveaways. Look at that. And again, we appreciate ICOM for supporting the Ham Nation. That means I'm throwing over to Don. Thanks, Don, for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be had or be here. Or both.
Either way, buddy. Either way.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so you do you, boo-boo. You do you. Another safety consideration, of course, is if you're launching lines up into trees to pull wire antennas up, always be aware of who or what is downrange, no matter how you're launching it, whether you're
good call,
seriously. I mean, whether you're using a fishing pole like I like to do, or the potato cannon, or a slingshot or whatever, always be aware of what's downrange. For instance, I love telling this story because it was great. When I did field day in New Orleans with the Westside Amateur Radio Club, Whiskey 5 Alpha Bravo Delta, or as we were known, Algiers beer drinkers, because we were in Algiers, Louisiana, across the river, we decided that we needed to put another antenna in the air, in the trees. And so Steve, N5SC, Steve Calcagno, my good friend, he's looking for something to tie onto the end of the line to launch up into the tree. And he can't find anything except for a jar of pickle relish, which he grabs off the lunch table. So he takes that and he ties the string out. I mean, he does the best, like, baseball pitch you've ever seen. And as soon as it left his hand, you could just see where the arc was going. Right over the branch and right down on top of the asphalt jogging track.
Oh.
So just be aware. Just be aware, we had no relish for the hot dogs that year. Now, as I sob at that memory, let's go ahead and get into the news of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline. From Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2381. This is Hamnation headlines for Wednesday, June 21st, 2023. Our top story this week takes us to Guyana. That's the location a young quartet of de-expeditioners has its collective eye on.
Their trip has been years in the making, and now, with the travel precautions of the pandemic behind them, a team of de-expeditioners all in their 20s is finally free to travel to their destination, Guyana. Four friends, Jamie M0SDV, Philip DK6SP, Tommy HA8RT, and Sven DJ4MX, are young. Sven is 21, team co-leader Jamie is 22, Tommy is 24, and co-leader Philip is 25. They have not yet been assigned a call sign. The Northern California DX Foundation said it has given the team a $5,000 grant as a way of encouraging the next generation of adventuring amateurs. The group's website will be updated regularly to keep DX hunters apprised and, of course, to encourage others to support the DXpedition. See the text version of this week's newscast on our website, arnewsline.org, to find a link to the DXpedition. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
A member of the Newsline family has been honored for mentoring youth in amateur radio. Anchor Paul Brown fills us in.
Newsline is always pleased to share news of radio amateurs who have received recognition for their contributions to the community. But we are never more proud than one of those being honored is a member of our own team. Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG, an anchor and correspondent for Newsline, has received the YASME Excellence Award from the YASME Foundation for his years of work with the next generation of ham radio operators. Neil provided the initial radio club sponsorship for the Region 2 Yoda camps, which he now serves as manager, providing administrative assistance for the camps as a nonprofit. He has also served as manager of Hamvention's Ham Radio 2.0 showcase. The Foundation Board of Directors issued a statement saying that, quote, recruiting young operators is key to the survival of amateur radio, and his tireless efforts are appreciated, end quote. The award consists of an engraved crystal globe and a cash grant of $500. Neil, we here at Newsline can only add our own congratulations and sincere appreciation for all that you do.
Any ham who remembers hearing or perhaps working the call sign Juliet Yankee 1, King Hussein of Jordan, will enjoy hearing this next story.
The UK radio equipment once used by King Hussein of Jordan, JY1, is being donated to the Radio Society of Great Britain by Her Majesty Queen Noor of Jordan. King Hussein became a silent key in 1999 at the age of 63. The RSGB said the collection will be on permanent display at the RSGB's National Radio Centre to inspire others and promote friendship and understanding across cultures. They said in a statement, His Majesty was a great ambassador for amateur radio, and whenever his official duties allowed him, his radio call sign JY1 could be heard on the amateur bands. His Majesty always operated modestly, never announcing himself as King Hussein, always just Hussein from Jordan. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org.
With Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, Paul Brown, WD9GCO, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now, here's the solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6S WW.
Right on cue, activity from our star picks up in a big way with new active regions rotating into Earth view and big solar flares to boot. But more about that in a minute. First, let's take a look at our Earth-facing disk. Back on the 17th and 18th, we had kind of a two-filament launch. First one launches to the north, and then a big snake-like filament slingshots its way off of the Earth-facing disk. It looks like the structure is going to go west of Earth mainly, but we might get a glancing blow somewhere around the midday on the 22nd. Probably not going to be that big of an impact, though. However, as we continue taking a look at the disk, look to the east limb. You can see a lot of activity going on. Well, that is region 3341 even before it rotated into Earth view. But once it did, it says hello in a big way. Bam! Right there on the 20th, it fires an X 1.1 class flare and a big solar storm. This caused an R3 level radio blackout on Earth's day side. And believe it or not only did it affect all of the amateur radio operators, but we had big radio bursts associated with it as well. In fact, as we take a look, we can actually see from Germany to Arecibo to Alaska, even at Owens Valley, California, we saw the big radio burst. In fact, as we take a closer look at Owens Valley, you can see that radio burst goes up to 12 gigahertz, if not 14 gigahertz. Oh my goodness, this affects not only amateur radio operators, but satellites and space traffic as well. If you had issues with DirecTV or Sirius XM or GPS or even satellite phones, all of this can be affected when you have, even Starlink can be affected when you have radio bursts of this magnitude. And this is just the beginning for this particular active region, because as you can see, we have about 10 days for this thing to rotate all the way across the Earth-facing disk, and it could give us more big solar flares with big radio bursts at the R3 level. So this means for amateur radio operators at field day, you might be dealing with these big radio blackouts. So just understand, if you're having issues with your rigs, it may not be you, it may be the sun. Now, taking a look at the sun a little bit from the far side, this is stereo A, and it's looking at our sun just a tiny bit from the side. And as you take a look at the east limb in stereo's view, look down in the south and you can see region 3341 rotating into view on the 20th. Bam! Right there, that's when it fires that X 1.1 flare, and it launches a pretty massive solar storm that's going to be heading mainly towards stereo. However, it looks from the coronagraphs that we might actually get a slight glancing blow at Earth. It's kind of hard to tell. If that happens, it will be like maybe midday on the 23rd, possibly into the 24th. However, look up in the north. Look at on the 21st. Wham! Right there. Do you see that? That's another big solar storm launching from that region in the north that hasn't rotated yet into view. This is another expected active region, and it's likely a big flare player as well as a solar storm producer. So what this means is that in the coming week, we could be having big chances for big solar storms from two big flare players, as well as lots of radio blackouts, and that's likely going to continue in through this upcoming week and possibly into next before things calm down. For more details on this week's space weather, including how all this flare activity might affect you, come check out my channel or see me at spaceweatherwoman.com.
Thank you, Dr. T. Always appreciate your efforts in giving us the lowdown on the big sun up there and how it affects our lives, both on the radio and also off. It's amazing how connected we are to our star. I want to put in a plug for the Huntsville Ham Fest coming up the third weekend in August. That is when we present the Newsline Bill Pasternak WA6ITF Memorial Young Ham of the Year Award. The nominees are in, and the judging committee is going over those nominees now. We should know something soon, I hope, and we'll be able to announce who the recipient is. Of course, we want to thank Heil Sound as one of our corporate sponsors, CQ Magazine. CQ Communications is another one. Of course, Yezu USA is a huge sponsor of the Young Ham of the Year Award, as well as Emmett and Radio Waves Antennas. We could not do that without them, and we hope to see you on the main stage the Saturday of Huntsville on the third weekend of August in Huntsville, Alabama, and we certainly hope to see you there. Someone who will absolutely be there is Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB. And well, look at this. He's here too.
Yes, I am. And thank you very much, Don, and look forward to seeing you and
always
and taking the pictures for the Young Ham of the Year to put in CQ magazine. I'm going to start here and put my screen up. I always have photos. You always know that. And this is a fun one. Didn't even want you guys to see this during the preview. Okay.
All right. I'm ready.
All right. You see it?
Yes.
Oh my, I know exactly where you are in this.
Okay, yes, the second from the right, that is me. That was my very, very first field day at the Exarban Amateur Radio Club in Omaha. This was held around Springfield, Nebraska on a long gravel road, and actually that same road was used to film a Lady Gaga video.
Wow.
In later years. But I was told that I wasn't good enough to be on 20, so I was relegated to 6 meters. And bam, guess what happened? I made 400 contacts and the other bands went dead because we had one of those solar things. So that was fun. And of course, the next year they said, oh, how would you like to operate 20? Well, I wasn't able to operate 20 from field day the following year because I spent the summer in 4 X-ray land and I operated from 4Z4HF and actually made contact with the field day in Omaha from 4Z4HF. So that was kind of interesting. But these people were good friends, and the guy on the far right lives here in Lincoln. Let's see here. So when you go to field day, we're going to talk about some of the things you really ought to bring that haven't really been discussed much. And this is an antenna analyzer. And it sure saves wear and tear on the rigs when you can use this to find out how good your antennas are and you can fine tune them. So bring an antenna analyzer, absolutely a must-do to make sure that your antenna is good and ready for field day. Another thing to have, go to Harbor Freight, and I think this week they got these on sale, those plastic ammo cans that have the gaskets and the lid and stuff. These are not 100% waterproof, but pretty watertight. So if it's raining, your stuff's going to stay dry in there. And so you can see, sometimes I have a kit in there, power supply, a soldering iron, a meter, all sorts of different tools. And so I just put it in that little case and take that with me. So I have the right solder and everything and a spare couple of PL259s and so on that you really want to have for field day. Now here's a tool. And when you look at this thing, you say, oh, well, it's a vice grip. Well, there's a zillion things that vice grips are real good for, including ground clamps and things like that on field day. And I'm partial to vice grips because they were invented and for many, many decades, I think like 60 or 70 years, were made about 45 minutes from where I live. They were actually designed and first made here in Nebraska. And so there is no field day without at least one set of vice grips holding something together. And I've actually put up a beam one year that was the taking care of the missing hose clamp. All right. So you're going to want to have some other hand tools, a multi-tool type screwdriver, wire cutters, pliers, and of course the right kind of solder is necessary to fix things on field day. Got to have a meter. And so make sure that the meter's got good batteries in it, as well as your antenna analyzer. You want to make sure that they're all charged up or have new batteries and ready to go, because this is when you're going to use them. And there's a lot of things you can do with that meter. In fact, a lot of times it just gets hooked into the power strip, so I can monitor the line voltage that's coming out of the generator so we can make sure that everything is okay. A good soldering iron is a must to have at field day, and one of those cookie sheets is good to protect your tabletops and so forth. You always got to be ready to fix something. Now, obviously, you're not going to take apart that 7610 and resolder a 48-pin IC or something, but you're going to be able to fix your coax connectors, drop cords, things like that. It's always good to have a soldering iron, some black tape, which I don't have a picture of, things like that, because you're going to need it. When you're soldering outside of your generator operating area, you're going to need a soldering iron that works without the generator, because sometimes a lot of repairs have to be done, including to the generator, before the generator is able to distribute power. So here we have a battery-powered soldering iron, and that works pretty good and charges from a cell phone charger. But when you're trying to fix wire antennas in the field, this is the kind of soldering iron you're going to want. These three are different examples of gas-powered soldering irons. And these use the same butane fuel as your refillable cigarette lighters. And these are good for many reasons. Number one, obviously you don't need power. Number two, they don't need to be recharged as long as they're fueled up. And number three, they put out a lot of heat, and that's what you're going to need to melt that solder, especially when you're working on antenna wire where you've wrapped it around and you want to make sure it's making a good connection and the rain doesn't mess things up and so forth. You're going to want to solder that to make sure it stays a good connection. And so you're definitely going to want to solder, and a gas-powered soldering iron is a must. And the one in the middle, I think, is only like $23 or something like that at Harbor Freight. So they are affordable. They always come empty, so make sure you get a canister of the fuel and learn how to fuel it correctly. But a gas-powered soldering iron is an absolute must on field day. This is, I was making reference to this before. This is a cable preparation kit. This is put out by DX Engineering, and it does the different thicknesses of coax. It cuts, you can cut it, strip it, and it prepares the braid and so forth. And then you're going to have the crimper, and you're going to be able to put the connectors on. And this is a crimp set here, and you can crimp coax connectors. You can also do your power poles and things like that to make sure you have a good connection to your power supply. So these are a good deal. This has all the different tools that you need and good instructions on how to use it. And once you're done, this is what that nice DX Engineering coax connector looks like. And he was mentioning the fact that you could put one of these on and just solder the tip and you're ready to rock and roll because it crimps around the braid and makes great contact. And so I use a few of these cables here in the shack, and it's always good to have this at field day. Another thing is to have some wire winders so you can wind up your wire antennas and store them away for next year. And this is made from a 3D printer. Now, obviously, this is for a smaller type of wire like you'd use like on a backpack or portable type field day. But I'll show in a little bit here an example of one that's a lot bigger and could be used for a full-sized antenna.
I appreciate the fact that you made that in LSU purple too, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
There you go. And it's still 5-2, isn't it?
Yes,
all right.
It is.
All right. So we're going to turn that off. Here's a much bigger
that is bigger
wire winder, and these are easy to print on the 3D printer. And a great way to keep your stuff organized in between field days. And when they were talking about Neil earlier, I've been working on these. These are pieces for simple CW key kits I make on the 3D printer. And I've made a group of those that'll be sent to him, and each of the campers in Ottawa will be getting one. And then I made these for their radios, and this is the special call sign they're going to be on, VE3YOTA. And so these will be sent to him with the kits, and that's my donation to the annual youth camp, which this year is being held in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And so it'll be nice to see if we can hear them from here in the middle of the country. And that's all I've got here. This is K0NEB in Nebraska, and we'll look for you on Field Day. Look for us as K0 King Kong's Vampires from the Lincoln Amateur Radio Club.
Very nice.
We're throwing to Amanda for the live show here, Amanda. Here you go. Oh my gosh, you're live. So you're going outside the trailer. Here we go. Hold that thing up.
No. First, I'm gonna go see my camp. I'm gonna go see all of our friends.
You can't walk too far away for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And she's done.
She's gone. Well, we'll come back here for a second until she comes back. Oh, there she is.
Valiant effort. There she is.
Are you back, Amanda?
Get back by the Wi-Fi,
far away
Amanda.
from the Wi-Fi. I can't hear you.
We have Starlink. Damn. Okay,
no, it's your
sorry.
Wi-Fi signal. Well, maybe it's the Starlink. I don't know. But you might have the blurry background on.
All right,
again.
hold on. Say hello to all of my friends that are here.
I think you have the blurry background on again, Amanda. If you can hear me, the blurry background thing's on again.
No, they're just moving that fast.
Is that what it is? They're just they're moving at the speed of sound.
Exactly.
Okay.
Really? I did that.
Oh,
okay.
wait, there it is.
So my friends are here, but I have to get rid of the blurry background. So hold on one.
No problem. We'll come
While
back
she's
here.
doing that, by the way, the final 5-2 LSU over Wake Forest. So same two teams again tomorrow night to go to the championship games.
And more people to buy Jell-O shots.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We crushed that. If you don't know what the Jell-O shot thing is at the College World Series, there's an Italian restaurant and bar, and they sell Jell-O shots for charity. And LSU is like 40-something thousand Jell-O shots right now. The previous record, I think, was close to 20,000. So at $5 a shot, they're raising a lot of money for food banks at all 8 of the college cities, plus they're in Omaha. So, all right, Amanda, you back?
There we go.
There she is.
I think so. Now we can.
They slowed down. They're not.
Point it down a little bit, Amanda. There you go. I can't see anybody. There you go. Hey, everybody.
Perfect.
How's it going?
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, they're drinking beers. I'm drinking beers.
Shacker.
So.
All right, we might lose her for a second as she moves back. So here we go. We're holding on. So Amanda is live from location.
Right.
This is their field day location, and of course, you can't get set up yet. So they're relaxing. They're having a good time as they get ready. Right, Amanda?
We're totally just chilling.
That's right.
Like, we just we wanted to come out early, and Jeff's gonna take this from me because
hold on.
There you go. Jeff's the camera guy. Appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you.
Hey, Jeff. There he is.
He got the camera flipped over. He knows how to do it. Good job, Jeff.
That's right.
Oh, okay. There. All right. Now we're ready.
All right. So let's go over this trailer. How long is this trailer? Anyhow, Radio 1, Radio 2, Radio 3.
What kind of radios
Radio
are these, Amanda?
4.
What kind of radios are these?
Those are ham radios, Josh.
Okay, good. Thank you, Don. Very, very helpful.
Thank you.
That was helpful. But wait, let them.
That's an expensive modem they got. Holy smokes! Look at that thing, guys.
Yep.
That's a nice little comms trailer they
Let
got
them
set
cruise down. So this is our ham radio setup for field day, but of course we cannot set up yet, right? So we've got the ICOM 90
That's a 910. There's a 7610.
There's a 7610 right here. Woo, woo.
Nice.
There you go.
And Tim Duffy, if you're watching this, which I'm not sure you're not, I forgot my public information
Uh-oh.
box.
Oh, no.
Guess what?
You have time.
Oh, you got a printer.
Perfect.
We have a printer right here to help us out. And then we have this big old monitor, and that's going to show us weather and maybe some dxmaps.com. Okay, so let's move into the second section. So once again, so we have a ham radio side and a public safety side. So Radio 1, Radio 2, Radio 3,
Jeff's
Radio 4.
You're good at this, Jeff.
I can't keep up.
No, you're good at this, man. You got a job.
Man.
I'm telling you, we're gonna put you to work.
And our ICOM here. So, and then we're ready to set up here. Look at this.
We're not going to be running that.
No,
ACOM,
we're actually
but
not going to be running an amplifier.
That'd
So
be cool, though.
it would be totally cool. Oh, wait. So this is all of our baggage.
Those are all the canopies, I think. Yeah.
But dang, we bring a lot of luggage with us. I'll tell you what.
This is priceless.
Yeah. Rock. Because I'm walking around with a beer.
This is great, guys. Good job.
I love it. This is perfect.
Trying to back out of this camper without falling.
That's
We got a
good
home
luck.
generator, but wait, there's more.
Okay, here we go. But wait, we got the Billy Mays going on. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
So show them our camper. This is our camper.
Yeah, the old one.
This is where we stay. But wait, there's more. So, so we got.
We might be driving out of range.
Yeah.
Have some firewood.
Do you have enough firewood? I don't know.
There's a whisper. What?
I think she's trying to show the generator here.
Oh, the
So,
generator.
yeah, the porta potty.
Wow, that is a chungus generator. How much power is that?
I think that's a 25.
Wow.
That ought to work.
I think it's.
Holy smokes.
And
That'll keep you in the juice.
Yes, there is the top of the comm trailer that I just showed you.
Oh, and you got Arden? Is that an
So
Arden? Is that an Arden dish?
that's a little ubiquity just for mash around the
Oh,
campsite.
gotcha. Okay. I'm like, man, we use those for
Yeah,
Arden.
I don't think it's Arden. It's just
But dang, that's a lot of antennas.
That's
Right.
a real
Sitting on top of
porcupine you
there.
got going on there.
I'm telling you what.
That's nice. Very sweet.
So this is our field day site. And
Look at that. Oh, man, you guys are going to have the best time. This looks amazing.
Need to go to Colorado.
Seriously, Colorado's beautiful. At 10,000 feet, it's
Like,
wonderful.
gosh, come visit. We have extra room.
Oh, yeah. Maybe next year. This year I'm on San Clemente Island.
Oh, you're going to San Clemente?
Yep, I'm there.
I just did their QSL cards. I just did them. So
I'm running
that's
that.
pretty cool.
I'm running that call sign. That's the same call sign we're using too. So yes, indeed. Appreciate you, Amanda. Thank you for sharing this.
UKW.
Yeah,
right?
KN6 UWK.
UWK. Okay, dyslexic. Okay, so
As long as it's right on the card.
That's all that matters, right? That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Oh yes, check out this, you guys. That's
Wow,
the front
look at that.
part.
Wow. This is a serious trailer. This is like one of the most serious trailers I've seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
You should drive this down to Hamvention next time. They love this kind of stuff. They'd go nuts.
I know some government trailers that don't look that good.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, but no,
it's a bit messy right now, but yeah.
So am I.
I'm just trying to. You know what? It's field day, and I'm on vacation, so I'm just gonna be me. It's
fun.
really been a fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Have fun. That's awesome.
That's the whole point, isn't it?
That's
have
right.
Fun,
Absolutely.
which I'm waiting for, and make contact. CQ Field Day, and don't forget the message is try your emergency communications out and put up some antennas. So have fun.
There you go. Very good. Well, man, I appreciate you. So, by the way, nobody knows this. I'm going to tell you right now. Amanda and Jeff have been driving like nonstop. They got stuck and they got all this going, and then they're like, "Oh, we got to hop on the show." And so we really appreciate you both taking the time to get on the show with us and share your comm setup. That's super cool. So we really appreciate it.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah.
We are about over time, but I'm just going to do a really quick thing just for everybody that is here really fast. I'll take only a minute. So this is where I'm going to be this weekend. I'm going to be on San Clemente Island. We're going to be running 6 meters. We're going to run 2 meters. No, that's not what I want. Just show me the pictures. There we go. Stap it. Oh, really? I can't. Well, let's just go back to this one. There you go. Look how beautiful that is. Anyway, so I will be running with KN6UWK on San Clemente Island. Austin took this amazing picture, so I'm going to be hanging out with those guys. I think we've got 5 or 6 people that are coming out, and Adam K6ARK is one of them. So if you didn't know, San Clemente Island is a very rare grid square. And
military.
It's almost impossible to get on this island. And we're going to be on the island with a 5-element beam on 6 meters. And we're going to have somebody watching that thing to make sure that 6 meters is open. So all of you Fred Fish people that are running for that contact, getting that award, that's exactly the people that we're trying to help out. We're trying to get everybody covered. So whatever we can do, we're going to try and drag it all out there. We got to pack it all into tiny little planes. We have a very limited weight that we're carrying, so we're all going to stink a little bit when we come home, but it doesn't matter. We're going to have fun making contacts. That's the point. So please put that into your ham alert or whatever. KN6UWK is what you're looking for. We're going to run digital and single sideband. So keep an eye out. Yes, and Adam will be... there he is. K6ARK is in the house. So yes, he will be our CW guy. So Adam will be doing CW, possibly other people, but Adam for sure will be out there. So yes, we've got a full.
Josh.
Yes, go ahead.
Josh.
Okay.
You have to see this view, though.
Oh, I know. I love the Colorado views. And coming from California, we got some good views, but Colorado, high elevation, man, look at that. That's awesome.
That's gorgeous.
It's sweet.
Oh yeah.
Roger. Kilo 0 Golf 9.
I love it. Man, that's God. I know I'm going to someplace pretty rare, but I'm pretty jealous. I do love Colorado. Colorado would be my if I had to leave California, I'd probably move to Colorado. So shout out to my friends in Colorado. All right, everybody. I think we're well over time here, but we want we want to make a quick mention for the Nets. So make sure you go check out the D-Star 14 Charlie. Kevin KC7FPF will likely be on 40 if he's not completed that on 7.192 megahertz, or K7UDI on 20 megahertz at 14.268. If he's not there, he may have moved over to 75 meters. Actually, I think that's the other way around. He may still be on 75 meters. But anyway, that's going to be it for the show. Thank you, everybody. Let's go around the room really fast. Anybody want to mention anything for field day or just anything going on?
Be safe, and we'll hear you on field day.
Yes,
have fun. I'll be on 20 sideband, FT8 and FT4. Hope to work everybody.
Joe, you earned that 20-meter position.
Yes,
that's
I
right.
Yes, you did, sir. Don, be safe. That's right. And sure. Okay. Amanda, any last words, you and Jeff?
No, just make contact.
Happy field day.
Happy field day, everybody.
Happy field day.
Well, we appreciate you all for watching. We truly do. Thank you so much. Hey, if you click subscribe and give us a thumbs up, that'd be nice too before field day. We will talk to you again in 2 weeks. So set your calendar or click that little bell so you're notified. And until we talk to you again, 73. All right. Everybody have a great field day. Good night.
Yeah, gonna be fun.